Hello, welcome or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz. I will be guiding you on this journey. And this journey is going to start with a yap sesh. I'm going to make an intro, basically, that I'll put at the beginning of all of the readings. Honestly, because I just cannot repeat myself 12 or 24 times. My throat and body refuse. So anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna put the timestamp in the description. So if you're just kind of like you can fast forward to when the reading actually starts. And it's actually kind of funny. Like I keep stutter. It's actually like I have a lot of energy in my body, and it's like it's all trying to come out at one time, and it's like making me stutter. I've had to redo this video. This is the fourth time so far, because it's like my mind goes faster than my mouth, and then I'm like confused. I'm like, wait, what am I saying versus like what am I thinking? Like, they're just like not lining up, which is interesting. Like there is actually a new moon in Sagittarius tomorrow, which is actually right on top of my Neptune. So maybe that's why. And it's a sixth house. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm like, I'll find a way to blame astrology for anything. So I'm hoping now that I said that out loud and that I got that energy out of me, that I can just kind of like ground myself and get through this so that we can get on to the readings. So I don't know what I've already said already, but I will put the timestamp in the description so you can fast forward to when the reading actually starts. The first thing that I want to yap about, or that I want to share with you, is that I've decided, it's like I've been thinking about this for a couple weeks, but I haven't actually said it out loud. So it like keeps coming out weird, but whatever, like, well, it'll come out right at some point. But there's an offering that I want to extend to you. It's a 2-card spread, or a 2-card draw. The first card is the door, which is, the obstacle, the path, the, thing that you're coming up against, the opportunity, whatever, that type of thing. All the things that we think about when we think doors, right? It's either opening, closing, anywhere in between. It's something to also like step through and have curiosity around. And then the second card is going to be the key, which is the guidance or advice for how to move through it. And it will be written, and it'll be $3.33. Basically, how it will work is that you will Venmo me $3.33 and provide your email address in the description. And if you don't feel comfortable putting your email address in the description, I will provide my email address, and you can send me a screenshot of the payment. And then, of course, I'll have your email address to respond to. I'm trying to make it like as least complicated as possible. And I think that like if you make the thing private, then nobody else will see your information anyway. It'll be obviously just between me and you. So anyway, $3.33. It's a 2-card spread. Once I receive your, notification of your Venmo, then I'll shuffle the cards. I'll pull 2 cards for you, and I'll write down basically like what comes to me. And literally anything that does come to me. So there's not necessarily like a limit on how long or short it's going to be. I do intend to get those back to you within 24 to 48 hours, or shorter than that. I'm just kind of giving myself a little bit of a buffer there. And I'm going to be offering these for basically as long as it feels good, like for as long as the energy is there. So I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, of course, leave a comment, or you can reach out to me as well through email. Like I'll have my email in the description. Instagram works too. But yeah, so that's the most important part. I'm glad I actually got it out this time, though, and I'm trusting that it makes sense. The other thing for this reading, we're going to be doing a what is ending and what is beginning. And I was kind of like stewing or whatever, with the thought of doing 2026 readings. And I was just kind of like it just didn't feel quite right. Like, I don't want to do like a 12-month overview, because who remembers that? Like, who remembers that? I couldn't even tell you if what I heard or saw like in any of the year ahead readings that like I listened to or watched for 2025, right? So I don't want to spend a lot of time or even like dedicate a lot of time to going month by month. So then I was like, well, I could just maybe do just a general spread, what's coming, what's going, like what's going to be the overall vibe. That didn't quite feel. Anyway, it finally came to me last night that I'm sure you've probably heard in multiple places that 2025 is a 9-year, which is completion, right? And with that means that 2026 is a 1-year, which is obviously a new beginning. So it's, about clearing out cycles, what cycle is truly coming to an end, and what are we now, I want to say blossoming into, which is interesting. Like blossom never like crossed my mind, but it's like, what are we now I almost kind of like, I keep getting this image of like a waterfall of, it's literally just cycling into the next thing. Like it doesn't necessarily even feel like a big stop and a big start. But it's almost just like that, the natural progression or even transition. Like, what are we transitioning into? And I also, whoops, mother of pearl. I looked up like what were the last 9s and 1 years, right? So the last 1 year would have been 2017. And let me just give you an example for myself, because I also think it's really cool to just reflect on where you are, where you were, and also even just to kind of have like dates ish, or in this case, years, like, to think back to 2017, for instance, which was a 1 year. And what was going on for you in 2017, but also what was going on for you in 2016, because that would have been a 9-year, right? And for me, in 2016, I got married. I'm pretty sure I got married during a Venus retrograde, which is not good. And and I want to say maybe a Pisces eclipse. I want to say, I can't remember for sure, but whatever, that was 2016. In 2017, I left that marriage. I put down my soul dog, the dog that like grew up with me, basically, kind of, I got her when I was, I think I was 19 when I got her. And when I put her down, I was 30 something. I'm like, what's dang it, I keep hitting the wrong button. That is so annoying. Let's see. I can't do math that fast. 34. In 2017. I was actually 33. I had to put her down in April. My birthday was in May. And actually, 5 days after my birthday is when I separated from my husband. And then a week after that is when I moved out. Didn't look back. I moved 3 times. Let me see. 1, 2, 3 times within 6 months. I moved into the place that I've been in since then. Like, so I've been here for the last 8 years, 9, however long, however long that's been. And yeah. So that was my 2016 and 17 actually too, which is interesting, is that going back even further, 2008 would have been the previous 1 year. And in 2008, I got my first like college degree. I got an associate's in graphic design. I got my first like real adult job, which was terrible, but I was independent, on my own with that. And then, so, that would have been a 1 year. I got that degree. I got that job. I can't remember if like anything else major happened that year. I don't think so. I might have moved like closer to that job. I just can't remember if it was that year or the following year. But also, okay, so 2008 would have been a 1 year. Then 2016 was a 9 year, which would have ended, that cycle. And in 2016, I got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. So it's just kind of interesting how, within that period of time, I got like 2 degrees and also like really officially ended my college or, like continuing education or higher education career, basically, because I don't think I would go back I've thought about going back for like, like an ultrasound technician or like x-rays or, something like that. But I just don't think I can. So anyway, it's interesting, so yeah, I mean, this is also an invitation for you to just kind of reflect and, where are you now? Where have you been? Did anything major happen in those years? The 1 year prior to 2008 would have been 1999, which is kind of funny because there was like that whole Y2K, kind of thing that was like happening around that time. I mean, obviously that was, the year 2000, but it was like the freaking out, also Prince has a song, 1999, hello. The prior one would have been 1990, and then 1981, 1972, 1963. So basically, subtract 9 from there or add 9, whatever. But yeah, it's just kind of cool to look back and also even just to like kind of welcome in a fresh beginning and to recognize too, like where you are, and maybe there are patterns or relationships, behaviors, thoughts, jobs, careers, whatever, that you have released or healed, from, and that's creating the energy or allowing the energy for you to move forward, and like I said, like transition into something new. And also, like, I don't know if it is just me or if it's like a collective thing of feeling ready for it. Like, I think I mentioned maybe the curiosity thing, which I think curiosity also breeds excitement. Just like being open, trusting ourselves, really just staying connected to our own truth. So, I haven't quite like necessarily figured out what the spread is going to look like. I think what we're going to do is pull some cards for like what is completed. Maybe I should write this down. So one pile, what's completed or ending. It's not even like leaving. I think completed is a good word. And then pile 2 is what's I keep wanting to like write starting, like what's starting. But again, it doesn't feel like a stop start. And I just cannot think of the word that, like, I mean, transition is like coming through, but it's like, what is another word? And like, do we look up the thesaurus? What's unfolding? Taking shape. Coming into focus, maybe. Activating. Okay. I mean, we'll see what words end up finding their way in, like, once I'm shuffling the cards. But like, what are we, like, I keep also wanting to say like falling into, because like I was saying, I keep seeing this like waterfall. Which also like feels very Fool card. Taking that leap, going with the flow, trusting. Also even just the water thing with intuition, and even like trusting like those big emotions. And I'm thinking even too, like the actual waterfall part, right, where it's the water actually falling. That to me almost kind of feels like the transition part, right? Because it's kind of like there's a direction that the water is heading into, right? But there's not necessarily control of it either. There's a direction and trust. Like, so honestly, I even fucking love that. Wow. I think these readings are actually going to be beautiful, and I'm really excited to get into it. And also, I just want to say, how cute is this effing tarot bag, dude? I'm going to put the Etsy shop of the girl who creates these in the description as well. She has 3 different sizes of these. I only have this size, but I have 3 or 4 of these all in different fabrics, but this one holds like this size of a tarot deck, but it'll hold a larger one. Like it's almost like oracle deck size. But look at the, you can choose 2 different fabrics. I'll keep a deck in there, and then I'll keep a selenite wand in there also, which is, it's like perfect. There's a clip, oh, I'm obsessed with these. And they're not just necessarily for tarot decks, but also, like it holds its shape. Like, bro, look at this. So cute. So anyway, we're using the Light Seer Tarot because honestly, like this is probably like my all-time favorite deck. And I'm also so glad that it said yes to me to do these readings, because before every reading I do, for YouTube readings, I'll ask, do you want to do all of the readings? Because you got to do them all. But I shuffle the deck and either a yes card comes out or a no card. And I honor that, because we're all about consent over here. So anyway, I'm so glad that the Light Seers Tarot agreed to do these readings for us, because again, like I think that they're going to be beautiful. And I think that's all that I want to say for now. So let's jump into the reading. Great. So we are at Libra, wherever Libra is in your chart. There was an explanation of the reading. Let's see. At the beginning, in the in the intro, but just a quick recap, because I was yapping there for a little while. There's going to be like two sections or 2 sides. On the left over here, we're going to have what was mastered in 2025. And then we'll pull some cards for what is going to be unfolding in 2026. Let me just wake up these bad boys a little bit. Okay. All right, for Libra, what was mastered in 2025? Whoop. We don't take the cards that flip. I only take the cards that come out of the deck because I want commitment. I think Libra gets that. But, I've had individual conversations with every single one of these decks. So everybody knows the card has to come out if there is a message. For Libra. Like that. Let's see. Is that 3 cards? Perfect. We have the Page of Wands, Queen of Pentacles, 3 of Swords. I'm not really surprised by that 3 of Swords coming out. What is unfolding for Libra? Is this 3 cards too? Okay. I love it. We have the Hierophant, 9 of Pentacles, and 8 of Pentacles. Okay. All this earth energy over here. There's, we've got some earth over here as well, but interesting. Let me just make sure everybody is in frame and there's not, crazy glare. This over here, for what was mastered in 2025, this whole thing honestly feels like a roller coaster to me. Like my eyes are just kind of bouncing around between these 3 cards. And there's this like high energy, playful, carefree energy of the Page of Wands. And then there's this super grounded, internal contentment type energy with, and even I guess like self-care energy with the Queen of Pentacles, and then this devastating, kind of energy with the Three of Swords. And I mean, it's like literally, almost like a triangle is like coming to mind here with this. And like I said, like it feels like a roller coaster. And I know too, like just the readings that we've done for Libra this year, I feel like there were highs and then lows. I think there was like a lot of processing and grief and letting go and working through circumstances. I halfway wonder, let's see, because I'm like, what was there something happening in Libra? I mean, I know like obviously almost everybody went through Libra except for the outer planets that are like on the opposite side of the chart from Libra. I know, like Chiron has been in Aries for a little while, which would be opposing any placements that you have in Libra. So there could just be like old wounds that were like coming up and stuff. So anyway, I think it's like, I keep kind of getting this energy of like survival. Like what was mastered was your like resilience, or you made it basically. And again, I said this during the intro, it doesn't feel like it's like, and it never is, right? But it's not like all of a sudden at 11:59 on December 31st, like everything resets. I would love that personally. But I mean, I remember being at my 30th birthday and like, for whatever reason, like I could not wait to be 30. Like I was so done with being in my 20s. And I think I just thought and I assumed that I would really have things figured out in my 30s. Newsflash, I did not. 40s is where it's at. So if you are, if you are 30, in your 30s, under the age of 30, please know that 40s is actually when the magic really starts to fucking happen. But anyway, literally, I remember sitting there and I was just like, okay, when do things change? Like the next day I'm like, okay, I'm still in my life, like, so anyway, like it just kind of, like I said, like it's not, unfortunately, it's not that, right? Like it just kind of like folds over, like blends over, so I think there is also a bit of excitement because part of me like wanted to like switch these cards at first, but I try not to like influence that too much. Like the way that I lay them out, like I just kind of have to go with that. I feel like this way makes better sense, but I just, like I said, like I just can't decide, or I just can't figure out if I want to be the one influencing this reading. So maybe we'll read both ways anyway, because also the fact that is even coming through, I feel is a message too, because I haven't felt that way with any other reading that I've done so far. But anyway, and two, it's not like, first, second, third, it's not like that, like type of energy anyway. So we can just read all of the ways that this is coming through for me. But it really does feel like, I mean, you really did put in a lot of effort to keep your head above water, to even wade through water, even though we have no water out here. So also too, like maybe there was some sort of avoidance of your emotion. Which, like I said, like I know in other readings, like we were talking about grief, and maybe it's because it, maybe it didn't come out in these reading or in this reading because, oh, we have the King of Cups at the bottom of the deck, the Six of Cups after that. Like, I haven't been reading the bottom of the deck, but I just kind of had a feeling that like the cups were near. They're not very far. But and maybe too, it's like a message that let me see. Okay, this is trickling down into my head here. Let me see if I can figure out the words. Like it's one thing to hear it in your head, right? But then somehow saying the actual words is like a completely different obstacle. But I was talking about the lack of cups like out on the table, and it's like the thing that's coming to me is that there has been a big focus on your feelings over the year, and this reading is more about almost kind of what to do with that, and maybe to like not getting swept away by them, because pentacles and earth are practical energies, right? It's grounding it into the physical form. Also, even physically moving, like when we do like somatic exercises, or when we do exercise in general, even just walking, even just whatever, shaking our, bodies, and even tapping too, right? Like it starts to transmute energy. It starts to move energy, which is interesting with this Page of Wands. And I halfway wonder too if you figured something out about that. Like if you figured out a way to transmute or to move things, or even to, because we do still have this Three of Swords out here, this Queen of Pentacles also. It feels like there was like a level of acceptance. It's like the heartbreak, the pain, the story, because the Three of Swords does talk about heartbreak, disappointment, rejection. Right? I mean, like, look at this card, right? Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's devastating. However, though, it is swords. So it's not so much how it feels. It's more so the story that you're attaching to it. The trauma that it might be triggering. The belief, right? Again, that you have to that experience. And of course that does influence our emotions, like how we feel about things, right? But it's more about, how that story is living in your mind, and how that story is influencing other aspects of your life. And maybe it is that story is influencing your sense of security, your sense of self-esteem, your contentment or not, the excitement and curiosity that you have or don't have. But with it being in these are the cards that came out for what you mastered. I do wonder if you've come to this point where you're like, I don't want these things to prevent my security, my zest for life, like the things that I'm curious about. I do wonder if it's like one of those things where like I'm just kind of over living in this energy, living in this headspace, and choosing differently. I think you are going to choose different. I think you are at least going to start putting effort, like physical effort, into something else. And I think I did like maybe use the word acceptance at some point, but I think, it's like one of those things of accepting that the heartbreak, the story, even the fear, whatever, like it's not gonna go away. Because honestly, I'm really not sure if it does. Like, those deep-seated things. Like this is something that I've been exploring like within myself because I lead with insecurity. I lead with no. I lead with shrinking. And it just honestly kind of pisses me off. Like I'm like, how can I be so aware of this pattern or this habit or this like way of being, but I just cannot seem to like nip it in the bud like before it even happens. But then I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like I don't know. It's like stressing me out to, and I get really hard on myself too. So I'm like, it's like stressing me out to um be so hard on myself about that aspect of whatever. And maybe instead I just accept it as part of my process. Like I'll lead with no. And or lead with insecurity and then let the rest unfold. Because usually it's like the whole thing, like there's no truth in the now, which is a very like emotional authority human design thing. And I am like emotionally defined, and if you know your human design, it doesn't matter, like if you are or not. But I think that saying is true for a lot of people, and especially if it is like something that like you are working on recognizing the mechanisms of your brain, like recognizing, the things that come up when they come up, what that story is, and actively like trying to navigate that. Because like I said, like this does feel like there has been like a roller coaster. It's like you feel really great about things and really optimistic and have a lot of energy, and then you go through maybe periods where you are content, you feel secure, you feel good in your body, and then there's periods where it's just there's not a single shred of light coming through anywhere, and it does feel like your heartstrings are being pulled in multiple different directions, and there's like no way out, or having an experience that triggers again, just something, or activates something in you that reinforces the story or the belief. So again, like it does have this feeling of like survival. But I also feel, because of the cards that came out on the the side of what's unfolding, I do really think that there's going to be some practical steps here, like some real energy put into either like changing your focus, maybe even learning more about, because here's the thing, this whole thing over here, right? Well, what came to mind, the phrase that came to mind is that no feeling is unique. And it's like one of those things of course your circumstances and your experiences are unique to you, right? But the feelings, the beliefs, the coping mechanisms that you've come up with, all of those things are not unique to you. Every single person has dealt with the Three of Swords. Every single person has also been on a version of this same exact roller coaster. But obviously, what was unique is that you're you and they are them, But the reaction to it, the stories, like I said, right? Like the coping mechanisms, the habits, the fears, the doubts, like all of that is not a unique human experience. And the reason why I'm even saying that is because over here there is this feeling of seeking information to help you understand what is going on to help yourself. And this is practical steps. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the Hierophant I heard community in my head, and it is, there's a community aspect, and it's Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, and Libra is also ruled by Venus. But, right, like the Taurus Venus aspect is the earthly comforts, materials, resources, making things lovely, making, like yourself comfy. But the Hierophant it's passing along of information. So there's a traditional aspect in it, like traditional institutions like school or work, mental health as well. But I don't know if you're going to be able to like see what I'm talking about, but there's all of these different symbols around their head, and it has this message about like pulling from different modalities. And I don't know if I actually like really finished my thought, but like the whole passing along of information, like when you get a new job, right, there's usually training, and usually the person who's training you already has been in the job for a while, right? Like they have expertise, they have experience, and they're passing that along to you. Like when you go to school, there's teachers and professors that already have the education or they have the experience in the field or in the class that you're taking, and they are teaching you, they're passing that information on to you. Even tarot, right, like astrology, there's traditional meanings to the cards, and obviously it's been around for however long, and it is information that is being passed on to you. So they're with the Eight of Pentacles, or the Nine of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles, which I love too, that there is kind of like a progression thing happening here. But this feels like putting in work to like free yourself. Some sort of feeling of liberation. And like I said, like there's this vibe of really trying to like understand yourself, but it's understanding yourself through the experiences of other people. Like that's what therapy is, or even communities or groups, like support groups, like grief support groups. Right? It's understanding that you are in the same boat with other people, and through that relation, you learn about yourself through people talking about their own experiences. And honestly, even through you sharing your experience, you help other people. It's a circle. This could, of course, too, like being recognizing where over here there are aspects of your life where maybe you're lacking curiosity, you're lacking excitement, you're lacking a sense of security. And that is what is causing the like mental turmoil and like the mental devastation. And over here, there's a real push, or like a real physical movement towards making yourself feel safe and making yourself feel secure. The Nine of Pentacles is all about like financial freedom and independence and liberation, like I said. And also in this Nine of Pentacles, we can see they're not even reaching for the largest pentacle. They're reaching for the most practical. They're reaching for the thing that is most in alignment with them, that has the most potential. It's almost too like meeting yourself where you're at. Even, like this staircase here, there's both of these cards are talking about growth potential. The Eight of Pentacles here is about literally showing up, putting your butt in the seat, the proverbial seat, the metaphorical, whatever, like seat. Because the Eight of Pentacles is about mastery. It's recognizing the requirement to put your time, your resources, practice into a thing in order to master it. Trying different things, right? It's the trial and error process, but even through the trial and error process, you're still gaining experience, you're still practicing, you're still perfecting your craft, but you're also figuring out what works and what doesn't. And like I said, pulling from different modalities, maybe trying different industries, like reading different self-help, type of books. Brene Brown, what's his name? Gaber Mate. Who's the other guy? Ooh. No, it is not going to come to me. I cannot think of his name. Podcasts, even. YouTube videos, right? I mean, like if you are wanting to get into a craft or a hobby, or it's like, again, physically moving your body, like physically putting your energy into a project, whether that is a job or or a job change, or even developing your skills on a for a job in order to advance, whether it is like self-help, schooling, if it is just, like a craft, or again, like having something to focus your time and your energy on. And it would be in an effort to like move energy around to get it out of you. And also, like I said, right, the king of pen, or the king of cups and the six of cups, ace of wands behind those two. This is some sort of like acceptance of the past. Which to me, like this king of cups does feel like movement of those emotions. Not getting swept up by them. Also, too, I think that there would need to be an acceptance of whatever it is that you are feeling, and a commitment to moving beyond it. Because I know too, like our stories become our identities, right? And our emotions, also become part of our identities. And, we kind of get stuck in this whole, if I didn't have that, what would I have? Or if I didn't feel it, I feel guilty for like being happy when this thing happened, or when I lost this. But that is a choice. And there is an opportunity here to almost like advance through that story, to like have a more grown up, mature understanding, or I want to say expression, but I don't think that's the right word. It's because it's kind of like the thing of like, if I were to grieve it and it's gone, like what would be in its place? And I don't want to forget either. And I just don't think that you could. But I think that what does happen is that it doesn't hold you back. It doesn't just, completely take you out and have you on this roller coaster over here. Because again, right, like in 2026, there is an opportunity here to free yourself of that. And that is also a choice. And maybe free isn't, I mean, I feel like it's the right word. I almost kind of feel like I would be trying to get into semantics if I try to find like a different word that like fits better, like it just doesn't have the juice that it did. But I also think that that's what you want. Like, I think you want to like focus your energy somewhere and like move out of, or, get off the roller coaster and just feel a bit more grounded and stable. And if that is like focusing your attention on learning something, researching, something, your work even, although of course be careful, like, with that, it's like, not necessarily going from one smothering thing to like another, smothering thing in an effort to like avoid. But it really is like moving different. Taking care of even your emotions differently. Grounding yourself, right? I'm going to leave it there because I just kind of feel like I'm probably going to start repeating myself. The Ace of Wands is like that excitement, coming back. Temperance. Things have an opportunity to start blending and start moving and start becoming, something else. I love that. Okay. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.